Students. Hope you're doing well. Let's start our today's session. In last session, we have studied about the weather and climate. That is the chapter number 1, and chapter number 2 is the fresh water of first term. The content of the today's chapter are fresh water, an important resource, the importance of fresh water, shortage of fresh water, a world problem. First of all, you must know about the fresh water. That what is fresh water? Fresh water is any naturally occurring water except seawater. It includes ice sheets, ice caps, glaciers, lakes, rivers, streams. Freshwater is generally characterized by having low concentrations of dissolved salts and other total dissolved solids. Though the term specifically excludes seawater, and it does include mineral-rich water such as the water which we drink. Learning objectives of the today's lesson. By the end of the lesson, students would be able to understand, define water, explain its composition, determine the reasons why fresh water is important for life, discuss the uses of fresh water, describe the causes of shortage of fresh water. Discover where does the water come from. That is completely based on your observation. It's a small activity and you have to observe what happens. Fill a glass with ice cubes and water, being careful not to spill any water. Wait 5 minutes. Observe the outside of the glass and the surface it was sitting on. Write down that observation on your notebook, that what you people observe. Fresh water, an important resource. It is no accident that Earth is often referred to as the water planet. Earth is unique amongst planets of our solar system, largely because of its abundant water in oceans, in the atmosphere, in glaciers, and as fresh water on land. Without water, life as we know it could not exist. Even though water is abundant, the amount of potable fresh water available is a tiny fraction of the total amount of water in the world. The vast majority of the world's water is in oceans, but because of the salts in ocean water, it is largely unsuitable for use. The supply of fresh water is limited, vulnerable to human abuse, and not evenly distributed in both time and space. What is water? What the water word stands for. Water is made up of tiny particles called molecules. Each molecule of water contains even tinier particles called atoms. In one molecule of water, there are two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. So the chemical symbol for water is H2O. Where is all the Earth's water? If we see the image of the Earth from the space, the oceans cover nearly 71% of Earth's surface. There is fixed amount of water on the Earth. We can't make any more. 97% is a salty water in the seas and oceans. We cannot drink it. 3% is fresh, and that was found in rivers, lakes, rainfall, clouds, water vapors, and is also underground. That is the demo and the facts of the water, that 97% water is the sea water, means salty water, and 3% is the fresh water that present in lakes and in rivers and deep underground water. Importance of fresh water, that why the fresh water is important for human beings. The importance of fresh water is basically the United Nations declared the year 2003 to be the International Year of Fresh Water. Water is needed for many purposes, for agriculture activities, for industries, and for daily routine life work. Despite this, there are still serious shortages in many countries for these purposes other than drinking. By 2015, the UN also has the aim to reduce by half the proportion of people who are unable to reach or to afford to save drinking water, the proportion of people who do not have access to basic sanitation. Water is needed for many purposes, agriculture and industries, but this water does not have to be so safe. Despite this, there are still serious shortages in many countries for these purposes other than drinking. The water in our bodies is essential for life. Without water, we can't survive. Water is involved in every bodily function from digestion and circulation through the control of body temperature and the excretion of waste products. The water in our bodies is continually being used for lost from the body. Some is used for absorbed by the functions it performs, and some is lost through sweat, urine and feces. The average person uses about 175 gallons of water in daily routine. We drink only a tiny amount of water that is treated for our use. Here's how we use it at home. You have a list of the water usage in different fields. Water is a valuable natural resource. We can't afford to waste it. So what we can do it? How we can preserve the water? You have to make the list that how we can able to sustain the water development or sustainable water. Shortage of water, a world problem. First of all, you have to understand the word what is water shortage. There is lack of necessary resources to meet current needs. Water shortages are also known as water scarcity, water stress, water crisis. That water scarcity leads to the deforestation and desertification, increase in global warming, and also it increase the pollution in environment. Apart from the lack of resources, there is difficulty in obtaining access to fresh water. Due to the lack of resources and access to water, further deterioration of existing resources occurs. Due to dry weather conditions, further depletion occurs. Pertinently, water shortages refers to regions. A distinction needs to be made between what is in demand and what is reasonably needed. Main causes of water shortage. Following are the main causes which are responsible for the shortage of water all over the world. Excess and unnecessary demands, increased pollution, the overuse of water excess, non-sustainable domestic practices, economic scarcity, uneven distribution of water resources, fair access to land presents challenges of conflict where many people are restricted or denied access to land. The challenges of distance remains acute in some parts of the world where regions have historically experienced dry climates and have to rely on neighboring countries to supply them. Water shortage areas all over the world, water shortage countries. The highlighted countries face the acute water shortage, little or no water scarcity, physical water scarcity, encroaching physical water scarcity, economic water scarcity, and not estimated. While the world's population tripled in the 20th century, the use of renewable water resources has grown sixfold. The world population will increase by another 40 to 50%. This population growth coupled with industrialization and urbanization, and that industrialization and urbanization leads to the water shortage. I have attached an assignment and few links. Go through these links. You are able to understand about the freshwater concept, the resources of the fresh water, and the causes of the shortage of water, main problem faced by the different countries all over the world. And you have to do all the questions and worksheet on your notebooks.